but I still hear a lot of feedback.
Do you?
Hear feedback?
Good morning. Oh, you're on calls. I don't know why. It's this. Yeah. Oh, sorry, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are on getting ready to walk, and there is a delay.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, so let's see. We're going to bring on everybody and see, and we're going to walk and talk today. Okay. Bruce, you're on. We have a visitor, Jackie.
I think it's probably coming from me because I'm the only one that didn't bring a headpiece.
We'll go ahead and see if he can put it on, and you can just talk from my phone.
Okay, you want me to disconnect?
Just to mute it.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave on mine. It is muted and it's still giving me echo.
Oh, okay, guys. We may have to go a different way. I'm gonna let you guys walk ahead of me.
If I leave the stream, I bet that echo goes away.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's because I don't have an earpiece. I didn't bring an earpiece with me.
Mine still goes, with the earpiece too. So it's just better just do hers.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll just walk
but
with you.
Use maybe if Bruce, you just went off too.
I know I turned mine off because it's still making that noise too.
Well, maybe let her use yours.
I'm telling you, it's still making the noise. Okay.
Oh, is it? Okay, so what we're trying to do is introduce you guys to our or you could use my phone.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
That sounds great.
So
that's probably a better idea.
Okay, good. So you'll be able to see that way. And there's one more. Let's see. Who is that? Bruce. Gonna add you.
There goes that sound again.
We're so close.
Yeah.
We're close.
That's why.
Okay.
So I think it's probably better to use just one phone.
Okay. All right. Sorry, everybody. We're trying to figure out. And I know that Bobby's coming on. And I'm not sure if Kathy's going to come on. So, and then my hands are dirty.
Oh, it makes it worse with the glare from the sun.
It does. Okay, Bruce, let me.
Want to use my phone?
Yeah, and I'm going to let, we're trying to get it together, everybody. I'm walking with Jackie and Bruce this morning. I'm going to use Bruce's phone, or actually, y'all can walk together and use, and I'll stay behind. Okay, we're trying to get it together.
But Bruce has his earpiece, so I can't hear anybody.
Can you hear me?
I hear you talking from the sidewalk.
Here, why don't you use my earpiece? It's just clean.
Let's see. How do you put this on?
Just put it on your ear and then go around your ear.
I'm just going to do Facebook. Okay.
There you go.
How about
You can hear it now.
Uh-oh, I just pushed the button. Here.
We're going to exit and we're just going to do Facebook. So let's hope. Stand by. We'll see you in a few minutes. We're going to Facebook because we're having echoing problems. So I'll see you guys shortly. Okay, we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live. I've got Jackie and Bruce.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Okay, so here we are. This is the first fall Saturday. and I'm going to hand over my phone. Oh, okay. And let you talk to Jackie, who is the author of
Hush Money, How One Woman Proved Systemic Racism in Her Workplace and Kept Her Job.
Isn't that something? So, you guys, I'm going to give Jackie the phone and let her, this is her first time with us. And Bobby, if you are coming on, I don't know how we can, I'll look for you, so I'll see you. And she'll be able to see if there's a notification. We'll try and work this thing out, because like I said, it's our first fall Saturday. We all have different phones, and a little technical difficulty today, but we are walking and talking. Okay, here's Jackie.
Oh, thank you so much. I just want to first of all say how excited I am to be here, and it's really great to have a group of people to walk with. I myself started my walking journey in June after I had gained an excessive amount of weight from severe racial trauma that I went through. And in June, I was pushing 5 pounds short of 300 pounds, which is a lot of weight in itself. But in addition to being, nearly 300 pounds, I'm also 6 feet tall. And so, your self-esteem just really plummets when you gain that amount of weight. But when you're that tall and you're that big, there's just no way to hide it. And so it was a result, like I said, of racial trauma that I went through. My career in higher education, it was a 6-figure career, was killed by racists. And so if you can imagine for a moment what it's like to have a job that you are really good at and that you enjoy, and that by any measure really should be a successful career. And then you have someone who looks at you and determines that because you're black, you do not deserve that position that you are excelling in, that you love, and that you're good at. And then before you know it, the rug is pulled from underneath you. And if you're a single parent like I was, a single mom of 2 girls, when your income and your livelihood is taken away, it's not just taken away from you. This is how you provide for your family. And it's a devastating thing to go through. It was devastating for me. And the racial trauma that I suffered was because of years and years and years of the same thing repeatedly happening. So I actually went into hiding for a while and came out earlier this year. And the reason I was able to find my legs and to stand and to come out earlier this year was because the alternative for me, which at that point I was considering both homicide, killing somebody, or because when somebody takes away your livelihood, it hurts. And so I was either going to kill somebody or I was going to kill myself. And that's just a ledge that you never want to be on. And I can talk about it now, but trust me, it was such a painful ordeal. And so what I ended up doing was I went into hiding for a while. And, I hid behind carefully edited pictures of myself so that people would not see what had become of me. And I did my best to try to provide for my kids. But then they started experiencing the same thing in their careers. They're building careers now, and they have children of their own, and racists are coming at them and trying to do the same thing to them.
That's crazy. And are they adults or are they, how old are they?
So my children are adults now. I've got grandkids. But that's why I decided this year that with the help of God, I would do something that not only helped me heal, but that would help so many other people like my children and other people that I started talking to and interviewing. Because at first I thought the racism that I experienced was just isolated to me, that some reason it was just something I was going through. But then I started talking to so many people, and I realized that, wow, so many of us go through this. And so I came out of hiding, and I wrote a book inspired by true events that's co-authored by my daughters, called Hush Money: How One Woman Proved Systemic Racism in Her Workplace and Kept Her Job. And kept her job, which is unheard of.
That's right.
So Hush Money tells a story of David, really, against a modern day corporate Goliath with a woman named Ebony, a black woman who was living in poverty with her sick mother, struggling financially, and more than anything, just wanting a chance to live the American dream that for her was just a fantasy. And after years of working dead-end jobs, she got a call from a woman at the temp agency she had signed up with just 2 weeks earlier. Daybron Career Institute needs a secretary, the woman said. It's a temp position that pays $16 an hour. Are you interested? Heck yeah, that's a lot of moolah, Ebony thought to herself before she calmly verbalized her interest. And that's where her story begins, with the call that changed her life in the best way, but also the worst way. The call that began her 6-figure career in higher education and her descent into racism hell. So Ebony gets this job at this college, and things are fantastic in the beginning. She impresses her boss, the chancellor, Dr. Hall, who takes her under his wing and really treats her like the father figure she never had. And through the computer skills that she learned at a safe house for abused women, she was able to really impress him. So much, in fact, that he bought out her contract with a temp agency and hired her permanently. Ebony was thrilled. You know, she had a full-time job that paid her $40,000 a year, which was the most money she'd ever made. It was a job that she loved and that she was good at. She had a boss that valued her and respected her. And she was on top of the world and was hopeful that she could literally work for this college and this boss forever. But her hope turned to horror, because her boss was unexpectedly gone. He had resigned for personal reasons. And all of a sudden, Ebony found herself reporting to a new boss, a new chancellor by the name of Miss Kelly. And Miss Kelly was nothing like Dr. Hall. Miss Kelly tried to break Ebony like she was a wild horse she was eager and determined to tame. She started by degrading her, mockingly calling her Agony instead of Ebony, giving her a nickname that other people adopted as well. She took away the computer duties that Ebony was really good at and that she enjoyed, and reduced her job to getting her coffee and running errands. And when she introduced Ebony to other visitors at the campus, she referred to her as her good-for-nothing secretary. The environment was toxic and Ebony was hurt, but it wasn't like she could just quit this job because she needed the income. I mean, she's a single mom and she's got a sick mother that she's caring for. And because it was the job that paid the most she'd ever made, you know, the likelihood of her getting another job that paid this much was slim. And so, you know, a lot of people asked her, why didn't you just quit? There's no way I would put up with that. But I think many of you probably know that for a lot of us, that's just not an option. So we try and stick it out. And so that's what Ebony did, but Ebony was smart. And so she decided that she would do some research to see if there was anything she could do to make Miss Kelly stop harassing her. So she went on the EEOC's website and she looked up the definition of illegal harassment and discrimination. And when she discovered that in order for that type of harassment to be illegal, it has to be based on a protected class, she came to the conclusion that even though Miss Kelly was just horrific and just awful, she came to the conclusion that her harassment of her was not based on a protected class and therefore wasn't considered illegal. And so since she couldn't afford to quit her job, she continued reporting to Miss Kelly and suffering in silence for 11 long months. And that is until the day Miss Kelly demoted her, because Miss Kelly didn't like her, didn't want her to work for her. So she demoted Ebony, reduced her salary, good morning, and transferred her to the student finance department. Now, even though Ebony was demoted and her income was reduced, she was grateful that she still had a job, because even with the reduced salary, she was still making more than she had ever made. And so she went into the student finance department, and because Ebony was smart, she learned how to do her job. She learned everything that she needed to know as a student finance advisor, and she became really good at her job. And because of her background and her compassion for the students that she met with, who a lot of them were just like her, you know, raised in poverty as children, remained in poverty as adults, she really gave them the special attention and love that they needed, and she became a favorite among those students. But when Miss Kelly, the chancellor, realized that students were flocking to Ebony, she decided to capitalize on it and used Ebony's blackness as a tool to increase minority enrollments. But on top of that, not only was Ebony being abused by Miss Kelly, but she suffered horrific abuse by her new boss, the associate director of the student finance department, a man by the name of Malcolm Webb. So Malcolm initially seemed like he was a nice man, And he asked Ebony how she learned to speak so articulately.
That just brings you up.
Now, at this point in time, Ebony has no clue that he has racist tendencies. And so when he asks her this question, she gives him a genuine answer. But then after that, Ebony begins to notice that this man is treating her differently than the rest of the people in the department. Because, good morning.
Morning.
Because she was...
He always has to walk on the left.
That was cute. Because, Ebony was the only black person in the department. So after her new boss, asked her how she learned to speak so articulately, he starts doing things like excluding Ebony from lunch gatherings. And he would bring snacks to the department and give them to everyone but Ebony. And he would constantly make Ebony work more late shifts than anyone else, while everyone else got to leave to go home on time. And then during team meetings, he would exclude her, so she would be the only person that did not get to attend the team meetings and instead had to cover the department while everyone else went into meetings. So Ebony tried to talk to Malcolm and raise her concerns, asking if he could have team meetings with everyone so that they could all be on the same page, because she felt like she was being excluded from receiving important information that everyone else was getting. And he completely disregarded her. So Ebony followed the company policy and procedures, which said that if you were experiencing discrimination or harassment, you could report it anonymously. So that's what Ebony did. And the only reason she reported the discrimination anonymously is because the policy said that once you report it anonymously, the parent company, and the parent company was the corporate office, would investigate it, and no one at the campus would ever know or receive information about who submitted the discrimination complaint. So Ebony felt confident that by doing it anonymously, things would get better and that no one would know that it was her. So how do you think that went?
Somebody told.
Well.
Oh, your phone. I should get your phone while you're talking.
Cool beans. Well, let me pull it out.
Hold on, everybody. I'm gonna get her phone.
Let's see here.
And I don't know if anybody's on that's walking and talking with us today. I was looking for Bobby. So Bobby, if you are on, put a comment in the comments section, and then that way I'll know that you're on and we can add you to the conversation. But I am gonna let Jacquie.
And can you just make sure they're hearing me okay?
Oh,
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Good.
And then I'm gonna give Jacquie back my phone so she can finish telling you part 2. Here she is. Okay.
This is so awesome. So let's see, where did I leave off? So Ebony filed the anonymous discrimination complaint, and it completely backfired on her because corporate didn't investigate the complaints of discrimination like they said they would. Instead, they contacted Miss Kelly, the chancellor at the campus, and told her that she needed to investigate a complaint about discrimination in the student finance department. And since it was more important to Miss Kelly to find out who the rat was than to actually conduct an investigation. She used the process of elimination to flush out the guilty party. And so after going through a series of question and answers and pulling people into her office, she knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that Ebony was the one who had filed the anonymous complaint. And so Miss Kelly threatened Ebony. She yelled at her. She berated her. She screamed at her. She told her she had committed career suicide and would never get promoted. She was very angry with Ebony for filing the anonymous complaint and airing their dirty laundry to corporate. And to make matters worse, Miss Kelly mockingly spread rumors about Ebony across the entire campus. And this is the chancellor, so her words carry a huge amount of weight. She spread rumors calling Ebony the girl who cried racism, kind of a play on words for the boy who cried wolf. And because, like I said, she was the chancellor, she transformed Ebony from the racial discrimination victim that she was into a social outcast. And no one wanted to be seen with Ebony, let alone talk to her. And she was just too afraid to file another complaint. But that's not the only retaliation that Ebony suffered. Malcolm, her boss in the student finance office, was furious when he found out that Ebony had filed the anonymous complaint against him. And so he retaliated against her. In private, he would go into her office, close the door, and call her darky, asking her if she was ready to quit. The work that she was doing for him in the department, he would check all of her work, which she was the only one he was doing that to. But then he would change her work. He would add errors to whatever it was that she turned in to make it appear that she was incompetent, so he could write her up and justify firing her. And he also knew that her sister Gabrielle, who was now a student at that campus, had borrowed money, extra money from the financial aid she was getting to help their mom catch up on their car payments. And so Malcolm, Ebony's boss, tampered with her sister's financial aid, which caused a delay in the extra money Gabrielle had borrowed to help their mom catch up on her car payments, which ended up in their mom's car being repossessed. Malcolm was absolutely horrific to Ebony. And while he's doing all this, he continued to make her work more late shifts than anyone else. And the environment was terrifyingly hostile. And Ebony suffered racial trauma, considering both homicide and suicide, as this man is doing everything in her power, or in his power, to take away her job and ruin her reputation. But I like to think at this point in the story that God intervened, because despite Ebony's horrific environment and despite Malcolm's best efforts to derail her career, she was actually successful, and she was unexpectedly promoted to Director of Student Finance and transferred to the Temple campus, which was very exciting for her because she was now away from Malcolm and his carnival of horrors, but she was a manager for the very first time in her life. She had a department of her own and employees to manage, which was wonderful. And because she was no longer reporting to Malcolm, she figured that, okay, I can do this. I have a new chance. I can rebuild my career. And so she gave it her all. But here's what happened. Ebony had never been a manager in student finance or otherwise. And so she had no management experience and needed to be trained for this new position that she was given. And you'll never guess in a million years who they sent to train her. They sent Malcolm, her racist tormentor, back at the Austin campus. And so I'm sure it probably comes as no surprise to you that Malcolm continued his efforts against Ebony to derail her career. So, in addition to continuing to call her darky in private, he withheld vital information that she needed to be successful as a director of student finance, and denied her access to the resources and tools that she needed to learn and effectively manage her department. And really, in a nutshell, he set her up to fail before her new job even really got going. And because he intentionally trained her the wrong way, it caused her a huge amount of embarrassment and humiliation, and really put her job at risk before it even started. But again, one thing about Ebony, she was very smart, and she knew that if she was going to have any chance at being successful in her job, that she would have to learn how to manage her department on her own. And so over the next 2 months, she took every electronic training course created by the United States Department of Education. She found resources outside of her campus bubble, reaching out to other colleges and other experts in the student finance field.
Found a way to get us on together.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to push the send request to join.
Okay.
All
right, let's stop here and figure this out.
Okay, so send a request to join. Send a request. I should get that on there.
Okay.
Okay, guys, we're trying to, okay, hey, Kathy. Hey, Michelle. All right, now. I'm going to add Jackie on so she can finish the story. And go ahead and push join. All right, now we can walk and talk.
Oh, we've got that echo again.
I'm going to turn my volume down. Okay.
Let me try turning mine down too. Does that help?
And you can go ahead and talk.
Okay, cool. So let's see.
Okay, I think she should be able, you should be able to talk, Jackie. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn
Can
it
everybody
down.
hear Jackie? Huh? Okay.
I would just push the volume.
My volume is down. Just turn it off. Okay. Is that better?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna let you guys walk. Bruce, keep Perks from getting hit. Okay, guys. We are
All
trying to
right.
figure it out so that she can finish the story. Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, thank you. So, like I was telling you, Malcolm set her up to fail right out of the gate, but Ebony was very smart. And so over the next 2 months, she, reached out to experts in other campuses at other schools. She took all the trainings that she could find electronically by the U.S. Department of Education. She learned valuable information from student finance associations. And by the time she was finished, she not only learned how to effectively manage the student finance department, but she obtained valuable information that she was able to use to create new processes for her department, retrain her staff, and resolve every issue that had really plagued that department and that campus for years, much to the surprise of her new boss, Dr. Romano, who was the chancellor of the Temple campus, who had hired her and paid her an exorbitant salary of $55,000 a year, which was the most she had made. But she also got the attention of the parent company of this college corporate. And Ebony became so good at her job, you guys, that she received awards for outstanding financial performance from the parent company. She received honors and plaques for going above and beyond the call of duty and cleaning up the department. And at this point in her career, things were going better than ever for Ebony. And she was taking a breath of relief that her career was finally back on track. But as always, life happens. And before Ebony knew it, things had changed because her new boss, Dr. Romano, was terminated from her position as chancellor. And a new chancellor was hired, a woman by the name of Dr. Taylor. Now, Dr. Taylor made it very obvious to Ebony that she really didn't like her. Dr. Taylor wanted nothing to do with Ebony, and so she avoided Ebony like she had the plague during her first 2 weeks as the new chancellor. But she really didn't want Ebony reporting to her either. So in an effort to limit her interactions with Ebony, she changed Ebony's reporting structure so that Ebony no longer reported to her and now reported to the vice president of finance, a man by the name of Logan McDougall. But even after changing Ebony's reporting structure, Dr. Taylor still found it increasingly difficult to avoid Ebony because Ebony was the only one on the campus who had a working knowledge of student finance operations. So Dr. Taylor worked with Ebony, and things were fine for a little while. But then as they were walking down the hallway one day, Dr. Taylor said something that made Ebony cringe. She said, "Ebony, I've never seen hair like yours. Reminds me of earthworms."
Wow.
So when Ebony heard that, it didn't take a rocket scientist to realize that this woman was taking a subtle jab at her braids. But Ebony let it go, hoping that, this was just a one-off incident. But then a week later, Dr. Taylor did something that really just sent an icy chill down Ebony's back. During their first campus management meeting with Dr. Taylor at the helm as the new chancellor. So as all of the heads of the various departments are going around the table giving their departmental updates, after Ebony gave her update, Dr. Taylor makes a comment. She says, "Ebony, you are so articulate. If you weren't sitting right here in front of me, I wouldn't know you were Black." So, because that was the same thing that Malcolm said to her, alarms were going off in Ebony's head. And she was worried that Dr. Taylor was yet another racist. But this was the best job she ever had. And she didn't want to jump to conclusions. She wanted to give Dr. Taylor the benefit of the doubt, but this time she wasn't taking any chances. Ebony decided that I'm going to plan for the best, but I'm going to prepare for the worst, just in case. So Ebony decided to create weapons that she could use to protect her career and defend herself if her suspicions about Dr. Taylor were true. So to start, Ebony adopted the motto, the E in email stands for evidence. And she decided to weaponize email. So she went back through all the emails that she had received and sent, starting all the way back to the beginning, from the time she was first hired and moving forward to present day. And she also decided to possibly record Dr. Taylor using her smartphone because she knew that the state that she lived in, which was Texas, was a one-party consent state. And federal law allows you to secretly record telephone or in-person conversations as long as you are a party to that conversation. So Ebony thought, okay, when Dr. Taylor calls me to her office to meet with me, I'm going to turn on the recording feature of my smartphone and start recording these conversations. So if she says anything racist or offhanded, I'm going to have it on recording. But then she thought about it and she said, this is not going to work because, there's obviously going to be times where, Dr. Taylor sees me in the hallway and gets into a conversation or says something in a meeting or comes to my office and wants to talk. So I need a better way of documenting everything that's happening. So Ebony created a document in Microsoft Word and she named it Daily Log. And she gave this document a 3-column header with the date, time, and description headers. And then using all the emails that she had received and sent over the course of her career, she documented everything that she could remember and that the emails jogged her memory on into this daily log, starting from the day that she was hired at this college and moving all the way forward to being transferred to the Temple campus and the offhanded comments by Dr. Taylor. So once she had entered everything that she could remember and that the emails proved from the past, she then turned her daily log into a living document that she would update daily as new conversations and events concerning Dr. Taylor and harassment or discrimination occurred. So after she had this daily log put together and she weaponized the email by going through and documenting those emails into her daily log in chronological order, she further weaponized email. And I thought this was just brilliant. So Ebony noticed that in this particular college where she worked, that a lot of people loved to give verbal compliments, in passing, great job on that presentation you did. They rarely put compliments in writing. Everything was always verbal. And I think they did that on purpose, because when things go south and you now become a target, if everything is verbal, you don't have any proof that you were doing a good job. But Ebony was smart. And so whenever someone would give her a verbal compliment, telling her, great job on whatever it was that she did, she would run back to her desk and send them a thank you email, thanking them in the email for the compliment that they just gave her in the hallway, for the great presentation or whatever it was she had did. Now, this was really important, because if you remember, when she was working back at the Austin campus, Malcolm, when he was trying to unjustly fire her, he started changing her work to make it look like she was doing her job the wrong way, so he could write her up and fire her. So by sending people these thank you emails, she had tangible proof that on this date, on this time, you said I was doing a great job. And the onus was on that person who got the email to respond to that email and say, no, I never said that. And of course, no one ever did, because they didn't realize Ebony was using that as a weapon. And so they would receive the thank you email, and that would be that. But she knew that it was tangible evidence. Now, the other thing Ebony did was she said, okay, if I'm going to fight for my career, what are the things I'm going to need to fight with? How am I going to fight? What is an attorney going to need? So she went on to the company intranet, and she pulled down a copy of the student finance handbook. She pulled down their anti-discrimination policy. She kept a copy of her employment agreement. And these are all things that, once an employee starts showing signs that they may be going after a company, companies are smart, so they try and limit your access so that you can't get this stuff. So Ebony said, I'm going to get it now, because they may try to limit my access later, and I'm already going to have it in my archive. And then she also kept a copy of her current pay stub, because she didn't know if an attorney would need it, but she said, I'm going to make sure that if I do need an attorney, that attorney is going to have everything they need, because an attorney is only as good as the information you give them. And she knew that. So after putting all of these processes in place and saving all of her documentation on a free internet cloud storage site that she found on the internet, she felt a lot more confident that she could not only fight for her job, but survive the battle. And surprisingly, things went very well after that. And Ebony continued to excel in her job. Like I told you, she received awards from the parent company for financial outstanding performance. And because of the processes that she had put together, she was given the honor of training over 60 campuses owned by their parent company on the processes that she had developed, which was a great honor. And because things were going so well, Ebony really thought that she had misjudged Dr. Taylor and that she wasn't a racist. But it was during Ebony's 4th and 5th years of employment that she realized that her fears and her suspicions about Dr. Taylor were true. You see, Ebony's mom was diagnosed with what started out as stage 4 colon cancer, and it became terminal. But when her mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, Dr. Taylor used her mom's cancer diagnosis as vicious as that was, to target Ebony and kill her career when she needed it the most. She denied Ebony the authority of her position, this position that she had built and turned into this wonderful career. She denied her the authority of that position and instead gave Ebony's duties to Ebony's white employee to carry out. She denied Ebony access to people at corporate. She refused to work with Ebony and instead put Ebony's employee in charge. She pushed Ebony into the shadows and instead had her white employee, Michael, now representing the department on conference calls and in meetings. And Dr. Taylor created a work environment for Ebony that was so hostile that after only 6 months had passed, Ebony was stripped of all her confidence and her strength and her dignity as her mom was dying from cancer and she was on the verge of being fired. But even with all this, Ebony was very smart, and she documented each horrific and horrifying event and sent emails along the way to corroborate what was happening to her. And she kept her daily log up meticulously. As tired and as exhausted and as humiliated as she was. And by this point, you know, Ebony is trying her best to keep her mom alive and to keep her job. But things finally came to a head for Ebony. One day, when she was away from the college, attending chemotherapy with her mother. Oh, hey, you guys, is that a sick cat over there? Can we see if that cat needs help? Yeah, you know, I have just such a soft spot for animals. and it looks like it might need help, and I'll take it home and feed it if it needs help.
Well, I think they live right there.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, that just, oh, it breaks my heart. Kitty, do you mind if I
Okay.
stop and go check on him?
I think they live right there. They're right there.
Okay, if that cat is still there when we come back around, I'm gonna take him home.
Okay. But
Yeah.
I think it's fine because, I mean, it's residential, so they're used to this area.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Okay. I have just a really big soft spot for animals in distress. And, I'm a big baby when it comes to animals, so sorry about that. But so like I was saying, I was attending therapy with her mother. She was away, and she decided that it was time for her to go ahead and put together all of the documentation she had and start drafting a formal complaint. But while she was at chemotherapy with her mother, she got a call from an employee at the campus who was also her friend. The coworker told her that HR had traveled to the Temple campus and that they were interviewing all of Ebony's employees and other staff members, and that the buzz around campus was that Ebony was going to be fired because Dr. Taylor had set her up for harassment, and they were now going to fire Ebony for harassment of the flight employees that they had given all of her duties to, which, as you know, was completely false. But, she's getting this information from this coworker while she's at chemotherapy with her mother, who is fighting for her life, trying to survive what became terminal cancer. And the combined stress of the cancer and knowing that they were going to fire her the next day was too much for her to handle. And Ebony had a complete mental breakdown right there at the chemotherapy clinic. And she rushed to the doctor and was immediately put on approved medical leave, FMLA. Now, when she was put on FMLA, it stopped her from returning to work the next day. And they can't fire you while you're on an approved medical leave. Okay? But Ebony knew that her job was only safe while she was on this approved medical leave, because the moment that she returned back to work from this medical leave, racism would start back up and she would be fired, and she knew it. So while she was on medical leave, and she was able to get short-term disability while she was on medical leave, and the medical leave lasted about, many weeks. It lasted several weeks. And while she was on medical, all of the documentation that she had been daily log that was meticulously kept up. She put all of her emails and documentation in chronological order according to ironclad, beautifully, meticulously written discrimination complaint that contained ironclad proof of racial discrimination. And it was beautifully written. I mean, just stunning. But because Ebony had so
did she cut off? I think she cut off.
okay, am I still there? Let's see.
I think she cut off. Okay,
Am I back on?
Huh?
Let's see.
So, what does that say? I can't see.
Share.
Oh no, you're sharing. You want to go
No,
back.
I don't want to share.
Let me send you another.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, everybody. I think that we just we dropped again.
Oh, no.
Oh, it only allows you to do certain.
This story makes me so mad.
Oh, it has a good ending.
Oh,
But
I sure hope so. Oh, I want to hear it all.
Yeah, you have to request again. So go to a live. Oh, it looks like it cut off.
Is this a video? It says live right there.
It's still going?
That's what it says live.
So request. Look for request to join.
Do you want me to go back to the link you sent?
Well, let me just see here. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. We are getting cut off. So what I think I'm going to do is let me see if I can help her get back on. Stand by.
When you read the book, it goes into so much detail. I'm not doing it justice right now, but
Wow.
it's a powerful book. It won the 2021 Reader's Favorite Gold Award, international, over 12 countries.
Wow, congratulations.
And it's $6 on Amazon.
Wow, okay, I'm going to buy that.
It's a great book, especially if someone needs to know how to fight racial discrimination, because it shows the whole story, including everything she did, how she wrote her complaint. You know, it lays out the whole story.
Oh.
And I'm gonna join the broadcast.
You're back on. All right.
She's
back.
So let's see, I left off where Ebony had wrote her containing solid proof of racial discrimination. And because she had so much evidence, it actually took her 7 hours to write this complaint. And after it was written, you know, she thought about who she would send her complaint to, because she didn't trust HR. And in fact, she had suspicions that the reason her previous complaints that she had filed continued to fall on deaf ears, and the people continued to retaliate and discriminate and harass her, was really because HR was in cahoots with the racists. I mean, after all, HR is being paid by the company that Ebony is claiming is discriminating against her. So Ebony realized that HR is not loyal to me. HR is going to be loyal to whoever pays their paycheck. And since I've already, filed multiple verbal and anonymous complaints and HR did nothing, I'm not going to trust HR. So she didn't trust HR. She didn't trust the chancellor. She didn't trust anybody at the campus. She really didn't trust anybody at the parent company either. So Ebony took her mountain of evidence and her beautifully written discrimination complaint, and she did something bold. I can't think of anybody that's done something quite this bold. She sent her discrimination complaint and her mountain of evidence to the CEO of the parent company. And because she really didn't trust that person either, she did some more research and she found the names of several people on the board of directors for that college. And she copied the board of directors on this email to the CEO. And that put a wall of protection between her and Dr. Taylor, because there was no way Dr. Taylor would fire her when she returned from medical leave after she had filed a discrimination complaint, because the timing would be as such that it would appear that Dr. Taylor was retaliating against her for filing a complaint. But Ebony didn't want to test that theory, and so she decided to put one more hedge of protection between her and Dr. Taylor, because she was absolutely determined that they were not going to fire her when she returned to work. So after she filed her discrimination complaint with the CEO and copied the board of directors, she filed a formal charge of discrimination, not with the EEOC, because that's what a lot of people do. And Ebony was smart. She said, no, I'm not going to go the EEOC route. So she filed a formal charge of complaint with the state of Texas Workforce Civil Rights Division, and then she retained an attorney. And finally brought the government into the loop on what was happening at this college, and it gave her the upper hand in the situation. And as Ebony looked back at the whirlwind of events that had occurred with Dr. Taylor, she was amazed at how God used her friend Christine at the Temple campus to call her while her mom was fighting for her life in chemotherapy, which caused her mental breakdown after she was told she was going to be fired, that sent her to the doctor who put her on approved medical leave, which stopped her from going to work the next day and prevented him from firing her, and gave her the quiet time that she desperately needed to write her 7-hour discrimination complaint and get the upper hand in the situation. Now, as the title of my book indicates, my book is called Hush Money: How One Woman Proved Systemic Racism in Her Workplace and Kept Her Job. Ebony did successfully prove systemic racism in her workplace and keep her job, but there's so much more to the story. I'm not doing it justice here as I walk around this park. There's so much more to the story, and the book goes into vivid detail about everything that happened. So not only did she keep her job, but she got a 6-figure settlement to buy her silence, along with a lot of other things, including another promotion. And she was able to still, the biggest thing is keep her job, which in a lot of situations like this is unheard of. Now, I know some people may be wondering why Ebony chose to write her book this way and tell her story this way instead of simply writing a memoir to tell her story. And the answer to that question is really simple. You know, anytime an individual or a company pays a person hush money, it's because they have something to hide and they know it. And they want to keep you up. They want to buy your silence. And so, yes, they'll give you that hush money payment, but they're also going to make you sign something that guarantees your silence. Something that guarantees them that once you get this settlement, that you're still not going to run out and tell the world what happened to you. So in addition to that six-figure settlement she got and the ability to keep her job, they made her sign a confidentiality non-disclosure agreement that forbid her from telling the world what happened to her. But as I keep telling you, though, Ebony was very smart, and she still found a way to tell what happened to her. The only other thing, guys, I wanted to tell you about my book is I started selling this book from the trunk of my car about 4 to 5 months ago. I wrote it because I was hurting. It was so painful what I went through and what my daughters and so many others went through. I really had no intention of writing a book, but I needed a way to express and release the pain that I felt behind what happened to me in my own career, and not really knowing what to do with it. After I wrote it, I just started selling it from the trunk of my car to other people of color in our neighborhood because I wanted them to learn the lessons and see the mistakes that Ebony made to help them in their own fights, because I realized that racism in the workplace affects so many of us. But I'm so happy to tell you guys today that about a week ago, I was notified that my book, Hush Money, How One Woman Proved Systemic Racism in Her Workplace and Kept Her Job, won the gold medal in the 2021 Reader's Favorite International Book Awards contest. It's #1 on Goodreads Listopia for Best Eye-Opening African American Women's Fiction. It's #8 or 9 on findthisbest.com in Best African American Christian Fiction. And it was #33 on Amazon's bestsellers list in July of this year. My book is only $6. It's about what you pay for a cup of coffee. And I priced it that way because I want it to be affordable to our people who are hurting like I was and I'm still trying to recover from, and my daughters and so many others. And so at $6, I feel like it's affordable for anyone who is currently experiencing racism in their workplace, and they're in a horrific environment and they don't know how to fight back. They need a survival guide. My book is that survival guide. And for employers, who want to take a look inward into their own organizations and identify those covert aspects of racism, that I became a victim of, those hidden aspects of racism. It is a great read for them. And then for allies, there are so many people who want to help make a better world and give a better experience for our people. And they don't understand because they've never been through it. Well, my book puts that person into the shoes of a racial discrimination victim to see and feel the full impact of racism in the workplace, including racial trauma in a real. And so I hope that I've done the book justice for you today. If you can afford to spend $6 on Amazon, check out the reviews and get the book. It will be one of the best $6 you will ever spend. And I thank you for listening. And this is just really amazing to be walking and talking and doing this. It's wonderful. So thank you all so much.
Wow, that's wonderful. Don't hang up, Jackie.
I'm not going to hang up.
Can you see me?
And I can see
well,
you through a glare of the sun.
Yes, we have a glare, everyone. And Kathy, thanks for staying on and listening. I'm not for sure if we can get 3 people, but let me see if I can send you an invite and see if you can come on with us. But yeah, these social devices,
Thank you.
I only know of Instagram that will allow us to get 4 people on. So let me get to a shaded area. For yourself.
Yes.
Jackie, can you hear me?
So, what was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so I'm glad to see that you are healing, and I know that was a terrible experience. I'm just waiting till I get to some shade so I can see if I can add Kathy on in case somebody has questions. She's saying congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know if she can hear me, but tell her I said thank you so very much.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she probably, I think she's
I was able to walking around, but it tells you what happened.
Okay, everyone. We're gonna do the last
Find out what happened to Miss Kelly.
the last few minutes, and we're going to
and it's a short read.
Yeah, so we're actually finishing up our walk. As you know, it's the Orally Research, the Orally Cancer Research Foundation today that's doing their walk, and I believe they are out of Atlanta. So what I'm going to do, because I partnered with them, oh, thanks, Kathy. Kathy said she will get the book. And so I'm going to go to orally.org and see if I could get on their live, because today is their walk, run, and bike event today, and I was trying to get all of us that support Simply Jewel to go as a group, where we could have done a 30-second video and send it to Dr. Green. But I guess I'm not as organized as I thought I was, because they've been advertising this for a while, and I kept promoting and doing the pictures and whatnot, or posting, but evidently it just didn't work out. But don't forget, you still can go to simplyjewel.com. on the upper, the purple ribbon. Just click on there and you can also donate. Again, we're trying to reach the first 10 million so they can start human test trials. And then we still have to do two more times. So 20 million. It's a total of 30 million. The first 10 million, we're trying to get that done so she can at least start the human test trials. It's only a 15-minute process, and it is proven to shrink cancer. So thanks for listening, everyone. And let me see if I can get Kathy added on. Are you still able to see? Are you still able to see? Hey, Kathy. There's
Hey,
Kathy. So, how are you? Thanks for coming
I'm
on.
good.
Okay, and it's sunny, I see. Didn't rain?
It didn't rain. No.
Okay. I'm wondering if
Can
this
you
one
tell
will
Kathy
allow
I
us.
said thank you so much for
She,
buying my
here
book?
she is.
Oh,
This is Kathy.
Hi,
Kathy, I
Jackie.
just saw your message. Thank you so much
I'll
for getting
definitely
my
get it.
book.
It was very
I
interesting.
promise you, it's an edge of your seat roller coaster book. It's only about 143 pages, and most people can't put it down once they start reading it, so they get through it in a matter of hours. But I really thank you so much for your support.
Absolutely.
Yes, she said she'll get it.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm sorry. I stopped in the shade so that I could see. I saw a ladybug on here. I never did see. You can come this way. I never did see Bobby come on. And so yeah, but I never did see Bobby. So and then there was 10 people, but that's okay. So next week, Lord willing, we can do StreamYard. That way we all can be on the platform. I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties, but it won't let us be great when we want to be great.
But this was still so much fun.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so healing, she's able to. So what do you think about the pot? What do you think about walking and talking?
I think it's wonderful. And, like I said, I'm still in the process of recovering from my own racial trauma. And, part of that is just trying to lose, all the weight that the stress of what I went through put on me. Like I said, in June, I was almost 300 pounds. And I'll have to give Jewel some of my before and after pictures. I can't weigh myself because Wayne does something mentally to me, and it doesn't work. So what I've been doing instead is I've been walking every 30 days and then taking a picture in the same clothes that I was wearing when I first started walking in June and putting them side by side to see if I'm losing weight. And I really am making progress. And so I love walking, and I love meeting people. So this has just been a wonderful experience. And I get haters coming my way too. I had some person send me probably the most vile, nastiest message that you can imagine, calling me an obese whale, and, just saying that, quit being a PUSSY, and instead of walking 3 to 5 miles, which is nothing, you should jog it because you're obese and you're a big whale. And so, I do get the haters coming at me, um, but I'm not letting them deter me. I'm gonna keep trying to heal. And I'm working on the second book, which continues the story. So the book that I just summarized for you today is book one. But book two, which is what I'm writing right now, literally picks up where book one left off, and it tells the rest of her story. Because as you can imagine, yes, she proved systemic racism. She kept her job. They transferred her to a new campus where she could have a fresh start. gave her a promotion. So now she's working at a new campus with new people, new bosses, new employees. And as you can imagine, what happens? The racism starts all over again. So it tells the rest of her story in this company.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that many have lived racism, and a lot of people didn't do anything about it because they had to pay their bills and, you know, their livelihood, be able to live. But now in 2021, it's clear that people are starting to speak up, and we just have to continue to support one another. And like they say, if you see something, say something. So some of us have always been that way, and we were ostracized or, excluded even with our own people, because they're always saying something, they always trying to do something. Well, no, it's because some of us didn't have that spirit. Right is right and wrong is wrong. So congratulations on your book. I bought the book, Kathy. I hurried up and ordered it. So we'll have to do like maybe we can come on one and in the evening and talk about the book. But this is also a way to help people to heal. So I'm glad that she decided to come and support our group. And we'll be doing this. And we were just talking, even Bruce. I was saying, well, maybe um, we should make this the last month of walking. And he reminded me, no, we walked in rain, hail, sleet, or snow. So I think
Not
we all,
outside.
And so I,
yeah. So
I have a Darth Vader outfit in the snow. You know, I look like Darth Vader, but I'm warm and I walk.
okay, so we may just keep this up. The only way we will not walk will be if the roads are not clear. So we will walk. But thanks, Kathy. Did you get your 5 miles in?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you get your 5 miles in?
Um, I
Or
don't
are you
think so.
still
I'm still
walking?
walking. I
Okay,
probably have to do a little bit more. I started late. This was the
okay.
first Saturday in 3 weeks that I got to sleep in,
All
and my
good.
body is just tired. So
Do
I
you want
slept
us
in
to stay
until.
on? You want us to stay on so we can walk with you so you
Oh
can
no, no,
finish?
no! You're fine. You're fine. I'm good. I
Okay.
walk
Nice
alone
to
all
meet
the
you.
time. So, but thank you.
Okay. Well, we're going to sign off and
It was nice to meet you.
Nice to
everybody
meet you.
saying
Congratulations
goodbye.
again.
All right. All right. Thanks, Kathy. Well,
You're
we'll see
welcome.
you next week. We're going to try and perfect it. Do you have an Apple? Is that an Apple?
No, mine's an Android.
It's Android. Well, we'll probably have to get her some earbuds next
Oh,
time.
I've got earbuds. I just didn't think to bring them.
Yeah, next time, because we were echoing and we couldn't hear one another. So maybe next week we'll do a little bit, we'll do something so we can get on StreamYard and everybody will have their own platform.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
All
Have a
right.
good day, everybody.
Yep. Have a good day.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.